Good afternoon, everyone. Please be seated. Welcome to Class Day. That is good spirit. We're going to make good use of that good spirit over the next couple of hours, the next 24 hours. Before we begin, may I ask the following students to come to the seats in the front row that are reserved up here. Nisha Andrew of Brantford College. Ethan Estrada of Pauli Murray College. Oliver Houston of Trumbull College. Nicole Lamb of Ezra Stiles College. Ethan Levenbook of Grace Hopper College. Mia Levy of Silliman College. Bez Mbeng of Pauli Murray College. Andy Nilipur of Ezra Stiles College. Kennedy Obito of Berkeley College. Teddy Tawil of Saybrook College. And Maisie Wong of Jonathan Edwards College. Earlier today at Baccalaureate, you heard me read from Constant Kavafi's poem Ithaca as a tribute to the long, remarkable journey that you have been traveling and the one that you're about to start. These past 4 years also remind me of some lines from one of my favorite bands, perhaps more familiar to your parents or your grandparents than to yourselves, the Grateful Dead. Sometimes the light's all shining on me, other times I can barely see. Lately, it occurs to me what a long, strange trip it's been. So, seniors, we need to do a little dress rehearsal for tomorrow. At commencement, there's going to be a point when I stand up here in front of President McInnes and present you to her so that you can receive your degrees. So listen up. The last two sentences of my request to President McInnes are going to be, they have been recommended by the faculty of Yale College and approved by the corporation. I now ask you, by your official act, to confer upon them these degrees. Okay, so when you hear those words, confer upon them these degrees, I want to hear you celebrating loud and clear. You're graduating, okay? So let's practice. They have been recommended by the faculty of Yale College and approved by the corporation. I now ask you, by your official act, to confer upon them these degrees. Well, you know, that was okay, but I think we can do a little bit better, so let's try it again, okay? They have been recommended by the faculty of Yale College and approved by the corporation. I now ask you, by your official act, to confer upon them these degrees. That's much more like it. Terrific. Thanks. Enjoy the afternoon.
Good afternoon, class of 2025. My name is Isabella Osgood.
And I'm Tyler Schroeder. On behalf of your Class Day committee, welcome to Class Day. Sorry. Yale College Class Day originated in the 19th century when the entire graduating class, fewer than 100 students, gathered in a circle on Old Campus to share memories of their time at Yale. Today, we carry that tradition forward, but in a way that's uniquely ours. You are a part of Yale history as the largest graduating class ever. A class that has seen Yale and the world change in profound ways. We navigated the challenges of pandemic, the rise of artificial intelligence, and witnessed political change both on our campus and beyond.
The memories we've made over the last 4 years are all part of the cultural fabric that makes up this extraordinary class. During these times of change, celebration, and loss, we've also discovered resilience, advocacy, and strength within ourselves and in the communities we've created. As we stand on the brink of the next chapter of our lives, we honor the time that we spent here together. We're celebrating not only our academic achievements, but the friendships, growth, and challenges that have defined our time at Yale.
This afternoon, you'll hear from our Class Day speaker, listen to speeches and performances by fellow classmates, thumb through readings from the class anthology, and you'll watch the class history video, which captures bits and pieces from our last 4 years.
Class Day began as an opportunity for the graduating class to honestly reflect on their time at Yale. As you sit through this ceremony, take a moment to ask yourself, what has made Yale meaningful to you? Maybe it was a class that helped you see the world differently, a late night conversation in your common room, or a friend who showed up when you needed them most. These moments, whether small or profound, are what make this place unforgettable. Today is about us, class of 2025, and all the ways we've made our mark on Yale, on each other, and soon the world. It's also about those who helped us along the way. So let's take this moment to reflect on how far we've come, hold gratitude for our families, friends, and communities, and to celebrate the journey that lies ahead. Happy Class Day!
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Layli Gedon-Moye, and I am a member of this year's Class Day Committee. It is my privilege and honor to introduce today's Class Day speaker, the Right Honorable Dame Jacinda Ardern. Dame Jacinda served as the 40th Prime Minister of New Zealand from 2017 to 2023. She took office at the age of 37 and led with a distinctive style grounded in empathy and inclusion. During her time in office, she enacted bold policy changes while guiding New Zealand through a series of historic challenges. In the aftermath of a live-stream terror attack targeting New Zealand's Muslim community, she swiftly oversaw a ban on military-style semi-automatic weapons and launched the Christchurch call to help eliminate violent extremism online. She led the country through the COVID-19 pandemic, during which New Zealand recorded one of the lowest loss of life rates among developed nations. She also guided the national response to a devastating volcanic eruption. In addition to her crisis leadership, Dame Jacinda is a powerful advocate for gender equity and social progress. Under her leadership, New Zealand reached 50% female representation in Parliament and on government-appointed boards. Her administration decriminalized abortion, strengthened pay equity laws, and extended paid paternal leave. She is also only the second woman in history to give birth while leading a country. stepping down as Prime Minister, Dame Jacinda has continued her commitment to public service. In 2024, she founded the Field Fellowship, a first-of-its-kind program dedicated to fostering empathy in political leadership. She also advocates for climate action through her work with the Earshot Prize and as a distinguished fellow at Conservation International. We are so fortunate to have Dame Jacinda with us today and grateful for her time and wisdom in sharing this moment with our graduating class. Please join me in giving her a warm welcome.
Te marae e tā koto ana, tina koroa. E ne mātai maha, haere, haere, haere. Nā tangata whenua o tēnei rohi, tina koutou. Tātou nā kānohi e hui mai ana, tina koutou, tina koutou, tina koutou katoa. I greet you this afternoon as if I would greet you if I were in my own home country of Aotearoa, New Zealand. By acknowledging all of you, by acknowledging the people of this land, and by celebrating your achievements, which we will all benefit from, as expressed in a Māori whakatauki or proverb. Ko te manu e kai ana e te miro, nona te ngahere. Ko te mana e kai ana e te maturanga, nona te ao. The bird that partakes of the miroberry owns the forest. The bird that partakes of education owns the world. I also wanted to begin by introducing myself, in part because I take nothing for granted. In fact, recently I was asked to present at a course for policymakers at another institution whose name I'm told I should not mention while on these hallowed grounds. Let's, for argument's sake, call it Marvid. At the conclusion of the program, the organisers asked students for individual comments on each session, including my own. And in the interest of generous transparency, I was then sent that feedback. As I scrolled through the results, I noticed a note at the bottom of the form from an attendee that simply read, "I appreciated the session, although I didn't know who she was. And so, hello, my name is Jacinda Ardern. And I was, for a time, the Prime Minister of New Zealand." I'm not sure I see that as adequate explanation for my presence here today, though. Even as I look over the sea of phases and the unusual hats, which no one has quite managed to explain to me, I still find myself wondering, how did I end up here? And that's because politics never felt like it was a given for me, and leadership most certainly didn't. I grew up in a rural, conservative part of New Zealand. My sister and I were the first in our family to go to university. While I was interested in politics, I didn't really meet a politician until after I left high school. But I wanted to change the world, or at least help the people who did. So I delivered flyers and knocked on doors, happy that I was helping elect people who would make a difference. But politics sometimes has a way of propelling you forward. While I never quite said yes to running for Parliament, I eventually stopped saying no. And at 28 years of age, I became an MP. Then, after 9 years in opposition and just 7 weeks out from the election, my party leader, the man who was running to be the next Prime Minister of New Zealand, faced a poll that told him our party would almost certainly lose. So he came to work one Tuesday morning and quit, and nominated me to take over. I guess it's not much of a spoiler alert to tell you we went on to win the election. I was sworn in as Prime Minister, and I found out I was pregnant all within the space of just 3 months. I'll admit some days I wonder if I'm still in shock, in part because there was never really any time to just digest this rapid and surprising string of events. and because the 6 years that followed came with the same ferocious speed. In amongst the agenda we had of addressing a housing crisis, child poverty and climate change, disaster kept finding its way to our shores, one unimaginable tragedy after another. It's perhaps understandable then that people often ask me about managing crisis, leading through change and dealing with uncertainty, and yet, perhaps what they don't expect is that I often talk about something else. I talk about imposter syndrome, because I have had it for as long as I can remember. Now, while imposter syndrome is described in a multitude of ways over the years, in simple terms, it's a confidence gap. But I have no doubt there will be many sitting before me today who don't need a definition of what it can feel like. You already know. If you have ever achieved something and felt discomfort in that moment of adulation, a belief that it was happenstance, that someone else was responsible, that if tested and required to do it again, you might fail, then you know. If you've ever been presented with the opportunity to take on a challenge or a new role, to put a new skill set that at least others believe you hold, and yet your first thought is, I don't have what it takes, then you know. If you have ever stood before a large crowd and wondered, what am I doing here and why the strange hats? Then you know. But what you may not know is the thing that has you questioning yourself, the self-doubt and the sensitivity that so often comes with it, the traits that you have tried to hide or shake off might have a power of their own. Self-doubt brings with it humility. The humility to know that when a challenge presents itself, you need to understand the problem to the best of your ability. It drives you to seek information, to listen to experts who can teach you and advisors who can guide you. Early on in my time in office, we faced a major biosecurity incursion when a disease called Mycoplasma bovis found its way through our borders and into our national herd. Now, when your country has more cows than people, that represents a fairly significant problem. It was the kind of problem I wanted to understand inside and out. And to tackle it, we would need every expert we could access. We would do the same again when a pandemic called COVID-19 arrived on New Zealand's shores. Now, while navigating both of these challenges was extremely difficult and not without cost, I am proud that New Zealand is now on track to be the first country in the world to eradicate M. bovis, and that our approach to COVID saved an estimated 20,000 lives. But maybe it's not doubt, but sensitivity holding you back. A trait you have been taught to hide, especially in leadership, lest you be seen as weak. But perhaps there's no way to hide it, and to do so might just be inhuman. On the 15th of March 2019, there was a devastating domestic terror attack in Christchurch, New Zealand, one that took the lives of 51 members of our Muslim community. And in that moment, the people of our country rallied to reject violence and hate and wrap themselves around the community, sharing openly in their grief. And I joined them. But empathy is nothing without action. And so 27 days after the attack, we banned the military-style semi-automatic weapons that helped wreak such devastation and did so much harm. That sensitivity that you walk through life with, that thing that moves you to tears when you see the pain of others, it can also be what drives you to action, the reason you seek to make change, the thing that motivates you to keep going in difficult or trying circumstances. In fact, all of those traits that you might have believed your whole life were weaknesses, questioning yourself, the doubt that brings humility or sensitivity that comes with empathy, may just be what the world needs more of. And that was to be the main message of my address to you today. The usual, we need you, and don't doubt yourself pep talk that perhaps you might expect at this juncture in your life. But as I sat down to pen these words, that suddenly didn't feel enough. Not when the world, over the course of a few short months, moved from tumultuous to an all-out dumpster fire, telling you that you should be bold and brave as you move into the world didn't feel like enough. There's the war in the Middle East and Europe, with both leaving questions over our sense of humanity, the daily reminder of climate change that bangs on our door but falls on deaf ears at the highest echelons of power, challenges to rules around trade, increases in migration flows, and a decreasing regard for civil rights and human rights, including the right to be who you are. Not to mention an environment rife with myths and disinformation, fueling not what I would characterize as polarization, but entrenchment. Views dug down so deeply and held so strongly, like they are like pieces of flint, becoming explosive at the slightest touch. We're living in a time where the small are made to feel smaller and those with power loom large. In the midst of that, why should you listen to platitudes about self-confidence, stepping into the unknown and leading through doubt and fear from someone who comes from the bottom of the world? Fair question. And my answer? Because it's not just about you. It's about us. There is no question that we are at an inflection point in global politics, one that is hot off the back of COVID, the economic disruption that followed, and a deep sense of financial insecurity. I understand the drive to focus in on ourselves and our own domestic challenges. They are pressing and they are real. But the world has experienced difficult inflections and the shock of major transitions before. Whether it's been recovering from war, the impact of globalization, or technological advances that have disrupted labor. What people need in order to weather these storms has changed very little. Shelter, an income safety net, access to health and education. Some of the greatest leaders here in the United States have recognized this, that amongst all of the challenges politicians face, they must meet the most basic needs of their citizens first and foremost. In fact, FDR said in 1944, while still governing a country at war, quote, "True individual freedom cannot exist without economic security and independence. People who are hungry and out of a job are the stuff of which dictatorships are made," end quote. The answers to the political challenges some 80 years ago were not easy, and nor are they now. Policies that make a difference are rarely able to be distilled down into sound bites, unless, of course, you believe the answer is isolation, blame, and fear. And perhaps that's why in these times we see so many reach for them so quickly. But in the same way that fear as a tool of politics is against our long-term self-interest, so is isolationism. The illusion that closing yourself off from the world somehow means you are simply prioritizing your own people, because it ignores just how connected we are. I am a child of the 1980s, an age of big hair, even bigger shoulder pads, and lycra, often all at once. But it was also a time when two profound lessons about my home's place in the world presented itself: apartheid in South Africa and nuclear testing in the Pacific. These seemingly distant issues struck a nerve that left a deep and lasting impact. The Springbok tour, when South Africa's all-white rugby team came to play in New Zealand, was a manifestation of the policy of apartheid that New Zealanders deeply opposed. But what the country couldn't decide on was whether sports was the place to protest politics. The result was a historic period of civil unrest in New Zealand as the nation fought with deep conviction over an injustice that was happening 11,000 kilometres away. Then, just a few years later, it was nuclear testing that was on the foreign policy agenda. The New Zealand government took a strong stance in opposition to this act. It was our region, our neighbours, that were affected by the detonation of these deadly devices. We sent Navy frigates into the Pacific to disrupt the French government's testing and declared ourselves nuclear-free. The standoff culminated in the bombing of a Greenpeace protest vessel in Auckland Harbour by 2 French spies, and the threat of crippling trade embargoes after New Zealand detained those responsible. Our nuclear-free status also eventually led to the United States removing our status as ally. As a child, I learned these lessons, observed them, the moments when you join your friends, but also the moments you stand against them. The lessons that remind you that it is not size, distance, or economic power that should define where you stand, but values. And that includes knowing and understanding just how connected we are. That it's not about you, it's about us. Now, while I have a lot of affinity for the place I have lived for the past 2 years, especially in Boston where my New Zealand accent doesn't seem quite so pronounced, I am not American, and as such I can never fully appreciate the history, culture, or the politics of this place. I am a visitor, and privileged to have been so. And as such, my observation will always be just that. But one observation is that through time, this nation has been pushed and pulled between a sense of obligation to one's own country and to the world it is part of. But each time there is a crisis, a war, infectious disease that grips us, or climate change, we are reminded that these two things are not in fact a trade-off. They are linked. You cannot remain untouched by the impacts of infectious disease. A trade standoff can never just hurt your competitors. A warming planet does not produce extreme weather that respects borders. And far-flung wars may not take the lives of your citizens, but it will take away their sense of security and humanity. We are connected. We always have been. History has taught us this lesson time and time again, and now our current challenges and crises are reminding us not just that we need cooperation to overcome what lies before us, but that we also need the strength of shared values. When the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was presented to the UN, it was one of America's great wartime leaders, Secretary Marshall, who cautioned that not only does the systematic and deliberate denial of basic human rights lie at the root of most of our troubles, but they have repercussions. Fresh from experiencing the ravages of World War II, he reminded us all that, quote, governments which systematically disregard the rights of their own people are not likely to respect the rights of other nations and other people, and are likely to seek their objectives by coercion and force in the international field, close quote. Now more than ever, we must restate these lessons of the past. Remind one another that to be outwardly looking is not unpatriotic. To seek solutions to global problems is not a zero-sum game where your nation loses. That upholding a rules-based order is not nostalgic or of another era. And crucially, that in this time of crisis and chaos, leading with empathy is a strength. There are some who say that empathy is some kind of threat to Western civilization. There is much I could say to that claim. Instead, I will just say this. Empathy has never started a war, never sought to take the dignity of others. And empathy teaches you that power is interchangeable with another word, responsibility. And so, my platitudes about what we need from each of you at this crossroads still holds. In fact, they are more important now than ever. Because right now we need the power of your imposter syndrome, because it's also your curiosity and your humility. We need your sensitivity because it's also your kindness and your empathy. And most of all, we need your sense of duty to your home and to others. We need all of that because it's about you and it's about us.
Hi everyone, my name is Isha Bodipati.
I'm Ryan Pascal.
My name is Katia George. And we are members of your Class Day Committee, here to introduce the traditions you'll see today as we celebrate the class of 2025. This ceremony is rooted in years of rich traditions that have carried through the passage of time to meet us here today. But it is also a ceremony that evolves, shaped each year by a committee of students committed to uplifting and honoring our class's wide range of voices and experiences. Class Day reflects not just what Yale has been, but what we are choosing to make it. Today is a reflection of our collective stories and our collective care as a way of honoring the academic, social, and artistic journeys it took to get here. Every year, students are invited to share their thoughtful, comedic, and sentimental reflections about their Yale experience. In centuries past, Class Day included formal academic speeches by members of the graduating class. Today, students speak during the ceremony and several short sets of remarks or other performances reflecting the Yale experience, offering both sincerity and humor. This year, you will hear from Molly Smith, Emma Madsen, and Thara Bhatt. Another special part of today's celebration is the class history, a tradition that has taken many forms over the years, from written speeches and theatrical skits to full-length feature films. This year, it arrives as a mosaic of our shared experience, a crowd-sourced montage of photographs and video reflections from members of our class. Later in the ceremony, we'll celebrate classmates who are receiving some of Yale's highest honors, the Class Day prizes. These awards recognize leadership, scholarship, creativity, athletic achievement, and deep care for the communities we've built here.
At the beginning of the ceremony, every graduating senior in the class of 2025 received a gift bag. While you are all familiar with the tradition of creating your own hats for Class Day, the items in this gift bag reflect a few more of the traditions associated with the ceremony. Inside your bags, you will find a special Class of 2025 mug featuring an illustration of our beloved mascot, Handsome Dan. You will also find a white handkerchief, which is a welcome gift from the Yale Alumni Association. Traditionally, these handkerchiefs are waved while singing the last line of Bright College Years, Yale's unofficial alma mater. Along with these, you will find a clay pipe. Legend has it that Yale graduates in the 19th century would gather on old campus to smoke these pipes and celebrate graduation. While the pipes that you have been given now contain bubbles instead of the tobacco of centuries past, these church-warden pipes have connected Yale graduates for over 150 years. Finally, your bags include a copy of the Class of 2025 anthology. Traditionally, the class anthology is a collection of writings, art, and reflections that aim to capture the unique Yale experience of the graduating class. This year's anthology looks at the Yale experience through all of our senses. What does Yale sound like, smell like, taste like? Student work featured in the anthology includes an ode to the Harkness Bells, the smells and tastes of the Davenport buttery, and the feelings of vulnerability and community that we have found as we have navigated our way through these past few years. You may find that some of these senses are familiar, while others are not. We hope that the reminders of these sensations of Yale can bring us back to this moment of standing on Old Campus, looking to everything that is coming ahead of us.
Another Class Day tradition is the planting of the class ivy. This tradition began in 1852 when the first vine was planted by Yale seniors, placed near the wall of the old library, which today stands as Dwight Memorial Chapel. Alongside the vine, students engraved the numerals of their class on a nearby stone, serving as a symbol of their lasting connection to the university. Each member of the graduating class would scatter a handful of earth around the newly planted sprig. It was a gesture both simple and profound that rooted their class into the very soil of Yale and sent forth hopes that, like the ivy, their class might grow, endure, and entwine itself into the life of the institution. If you walk around Old Campus today, you will find those class years still engraved into the walls, each one marking the passage of time, the turning of classes, and the continuity of the Yale community. In those early years, this ceremony was also accompanied by a recitation of the Ivy Ode. The original Ivy Ode, composed in Latin Sapphic stanzas, evoked the symbolic connection between the slow, steadfast growth of the ivy vine and the flourishing of the graduating class as they moved beyond Yale's walls. In more recent decades, the ode has evolved to reflect the voices of the present moment. Now, the Ivy Ode is an original composition of a poem, spoken word piece, or lyrics by members of the graduating class. This year's Ivy Ode continues that tradition of blending old and new, honoring the past while speaking in the voice of the present. This year's original composition, We Can Find Love, is written and performed by the amazingly talented Victoria Pakel and Vion Ateme. And now, continuing this tradition of reflection, remembrance, and hope, it is my honor to invite to the stage our classmates Victoria and Vion, accompanied by Taylor Robin and my fellow Trumbulians Maxwell Brown and Amon Fikre, to share this year's Ivy Ode that speaks to our class, our journey, and the roots we've planted here at Yale. Victoria and Vion, the stage is yours.
Wish that I could tell time to bring me where the love lies, a place where we can truly all be free.
When did we lose our will to stand? Changing, but no one seems to listen to your cries.
The hardening of hearts will never save, only keep us chained.
Ooh, there will come a time when we all will have to answer for all the times, we stood by. Ooh, but we can find love. We can be love,
'Cause it's all that we have, and we know it will last.
I need to know where love is. I need to know where love lies. I need to know where love is. I need to know, I need to know. I need to feel, I need to have, I need to heal. Where love lies.
I need to know where love is. I need to know where love lies. I need to know where love is. I need to know. I need to feel, need to have. Where love lies. We can find love. We can be love. 'Cause it's all that we have,
And we know it will last. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're so
Thank
honored
you.
to be here.
Thank you guys. Congratulations, class of 2025, and free Palestine.
Please join me in welcoming Mia Levy, who is watching Class Day through the live stream while at the Ivy Women's Rowing Championship. The Nellie P. Elliott Award honors one senior female sport participant whose excellence in the field of athletics and their life at Yale best represents the ideals of sportsmanship and Yale tradition. This year, the prize is awarded to Mia Levy of Silliman College. Mia Levy's rowing coach has called her a once-in-a-generation talent. She is the current Yale Women's Crew team captain, who is a 3-time NCAA championship participant, a 2022 NCAA champion in the second varsity 8, the 22-23 USA Rowing Under-23 Athlete of the Year, the 2023 and 24 All-Ivy, and a 2-time world champion for Team USA. Off the water, Mia is an English major who is co-president of the Yale Athlete Ally chapter and a peer tutor at the Pourvu Center. In my 27 years with Yale Women's Crew, says her coach, no student athlete has embodied what it means to be a Yale athlete. Better than Mia Levy. In recognition of her achievement as a rower, her inspiring work ethic, and for her consummate leadership on and off the water, Yale Athletics is proud and honored to present the Nellie P. Elliott Award to Mia Levy. The William Neely Mallory Award honors one senior male sport participant who on the field of play and in life at Yale best represents the highest ideals of American sportsmanship and Yale tradition. This year, the prize is awarded to Bez Mbang of Pauli Murray College. Bez, too, is watching via live stream. Bez Mbang's basketball coach says Bez is the fiercest and most dominating defensive player I have ever coached. His accolades in helping his team to 3 Ivy League championships and 3 NCAA tournaments are amazing. He is a 3-time Ivy League Defensive Player of the Year, 3 Ivy League tournament champion, 2-time Ivy League regular season champion, 3-time NCAA tournament participant, the all-time leader in steals at Yale, and the 2025 Ivy League Player of the Year. On the court, Bez is the first person ever in the Ivy League to win Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year in the same season. Off the court, Bez has over 100 hours of community service in New Haven schools in recognition of his gifts and achievement as an athlete, his qualities as a quintessential team player, and his buoyant community spirit. Yale Athletics is delighted to present the William Neely Mallory Award to Bez Mbang.
President McInnes, Dean Lewis, Yale College Class of 2025, family members, friends, and audience members paid to laugh, thank you for joining us on Class Day. My name is Emma Madsen.
My name is Tara Butt. And we are thrilled to be speaking to you all today. These last 4 years at Yale have been the most joyful and transformative years of our lives. We've learned so much about the world, ourselves, and what type of people we want to be.
And we've decided we're gonna be ventriloquists. Woo! Well, a lot of people sell out after college, but not us, no. After graduation, we are going to pursue our passions and move to the big city for a life of puppetry and laughter.
Unfortunately, though, ventriloquy dolls are a little expensive, and my Mellon Grant money never got deposited. So we decided we're just gonna give a normal speech. Just a regular speech. And we're gonna talk about the 8 biggest lessons that we've learned during our time at Yale.
Lesson 1, it's okay to take your time. Yale is a high-pressure environment full of people with big goals who are rushing to reach them as fast as possible.
Yale doesn't exist so that you can race to consume more olive oil than anyone else in the nation. Go to a different party every night of February.
Is this about all-starring?
Or get the most upvotes on Fizz. It's that every student has the space and time to read, think, and ask nuanced questions of people considered experts in their fields.
Experts like Ted Cruz, and nuanced questions like, assuming it would end world hunger, would you flake?
The students who take their time actually get farther in the long run. Like students who took gap years are on average taller than everyone else because they got an extra year for puberty.
And Thara really took her time starting her thesis, but it's okay because she let ChatGPT write the whole thing.
Moving forward, lesson number 2. embrace diversity. Yale is home to a beautiful mixture of people with varying backgrounds, cultures, colors, religions, interests, and ideas about the ethicality of stealing from the bow wow.
We've learned to embrace our suite mates who stick their used contact lenses on the bathroom wall instead of in the trash can. Our friends who were excited about Yale dining switching from Coke to Pepsi. Not to mention the wide range of foreign people we've met here. Students from exotic, mystical places like Manhattan and Los Angeles, which means the city of angels.
You're so smart.
Thanks.
Here, we've learned so much by spending time with people with different cultural traditions, beliefs, and backgrounds.
For example, it's normal in Thara's culture to take at least 7 days to respond to a text.
We didn't rehearse that part.
Lesson 3. Money isn't everything. When we first got to Yale, we thought we had to be super rich to fit in. And that's true.
Totally true.
But also, happiness is what matters.
Yeah, happiness.
Happiness.
Happiness. Rich people here go through a lot of hard stuff, like when other people judge them for using E&R campus laundry.
And Yale has a more than $40 billion endowment, but we can still only afford one bulldog for the students to pet.
Embarrassing. No matter how rich the Yalie, we all suffered when our Google Drive storage got restricted.
But we've learned that you can choose a career that maybe won't make you rich, like ventriloquism, but at least it will make you happy.
Lesson number 4. Be yourself and live authentically. Life is sweeter that way. Yale has given us ample space and opportunity to follow our passions and taught us how to be our fullest selves.
For example, a cappella groups are full of some of the most authentic people on campus. They are never afraid to take up lots of space and sing whenever they want.
Whenever.
And wherever, too.
Wherever.
I mean, in dining halls, in class, on Valentine's Day, and on cross-campus, and in every classroom of WLH when you're trying to study for a final.
And athletes, too, have shown us that it's okay to admit who they truly are. People who want to run around libraries naked when, again, you're trying to study for a final.
But, you know, Thara is super authentic and truthful, and she would never hide anything from anyone.
What are you on about?
Lesson 5. Find your community. Wherever you go, there will always be a place for you to fit in, and you should take the time to carve it out. Here, students with all different interests and personalities find people just like them.
Yaleys who like lettuce joined the Yale Student Lettuce Club, where they race to eat iceberg or romaine head to head.
People who like to explore found community with Y-Sex, Yale Society for the Exploration of Campus Secrets.
And so did confused asexuals. Frat brothers who really care about world issues found their tribe at Leo when Leo hosted the Leo Pong tournament to support at-risk Afghan women.
Well, Thara and I, we've both tried to find our community here, but it's not always easy. I mean, our first year, we applied to the Yale Alumni Association, but they turned us away.
I'm sure we'll get in someday. Lesson number 6. You are more than your transcript. These last 4 years have sometimes been stressful, but at the end of the day, we've learned that grades and classes and all that minutia doesn't really matter all that much.
Because Yale really does have massive grade inflation. But for those of you who quit being pre-med, I mean, sure you disappointed your parents, but you'll do great at Boston Consulting Group.
It's called BCG.
Of course, you would know that. You know, fun fact, in case you didn't know, Thara actually didn't get enough credits to graduate, but they still let her come up on stage anyway.
Really funny joke, Emma.
Lesson 7. Lies always get back to you, even if you only tell one person.
Dude, what are you doing?
During our time here, we have learned that some things you've been taught are maybe not true. Like that one day we'll have free laundry, or that we have a 2-week course shopping period, or that we have free speech on campus. But you know, I've learned that when you tell a lie, it will always, always, always get back to you.
What are you on about, dude?
I know that you lied. I know you took the job at McKinsey and we're not doing ventriloquy together.
That's none of your business. You're embarrassing me in front of everyone.
You're embarrassing me. You ruined our dream.
This was always your dream.
Oh my God.
Dude, get up. You're fine.
I think I have a concussion.
Get up. I think they've noticed yet. Oh. Lesson number 8. Stand up for yourself. Yale class of 2025. You are a class of leaders, change makers, talented creatives, organizers, activists, people brave enough to get arrested, people brave enough to people brave enough to stand up for what they believe in, people who want to change the world, people who want to create a future for everyone that's just and equitable and beautiful. So when someone, a person, an institution, a president, gets in the way of that, stand up for yourself. Congratulations, Yale class of 2025. Thank you, class of 2025.
Estrada and Kennedy Odibo, will you please come up to the stage? The Nakanishi Prize is awarded to 2 graduating seniors who, while maintaining high academic achievement, have provided exemplary leadership in enhancing race or ethnic relations at Yale College. This year's prizes are awarded to Ethan Estrada of Pauli Murray College and Kennedy Odibo of Berkeley College. Ethan Estrada graduates with a BA in Ethnicity, Race and Migration and Education Studies with distinction in Ethnicity, Race and Migration. Ethan's dedication to building and strengthening ethnic relations is expansive, personal, and deep. Since their first year at Yale, they have been a vital presence at La Casa Cultural, first as a student coordinator and later as a peer liaison. Ethan has created community and connection through events like poetry jams, baking and bonding, and their role on the executive board of Mecha de Yale. They reignited De Colores, the Latine queer affiliate group, transforming it into a vibrant space that bridges racial, ethnic, and LGBTQ+ identities. Ethan's passion for poetry and the written word is evident in their role as editor-in-chief of Broad Recognition, a feminist publication. Next year, Ethan will be pursuing a doctoral program at the University of Southern California in English and creative writing. As head counselor for cultural connections, Ethan has fostered cross-cultural understanding amongst incoming students. They have consistently raised critical issues of discrimination and inequity, generating important conversations and fostering reconciliation. For their extraordinary service, leadership, and welcoming presence, Yale College is proud to award the Nakanishi Prize to Ethan Estrada. Kennedy Odibo graduates with a double major in ecology and evolutionary biology and African American studies. Over the past 4 years, Kennedy has committed himself to creating and enhancing community at Yale. Through his roles as first-year liaison and head student assistant at the House, and through his service on the executive boards of the Yale Black Men's Union, Yale Model African Union, and the Yale Association for African Peace and Development, Kennedy has been a mentor and guide for other students at Yale. As president and executive advisor to the Yale Nigerian Students Association, Kennedy led initiatives to connect students across the Nigerian diaspora. After the devastating floods in the Niger Delta, he raised over $2,000, over 2 million naira, for relief efforts through local funds and awareness-raising efforts. His care for others extends beyond campus. As a tutor for incarcerated women through the Yale Prison Education Initiative, and a harm reduction advocate at the Downtown Evening Soup Kitchen. Kennedy will continue his interest in healthcare at the Yale School of Public Health. As a master's student studying health policy. For his extraordinary service and leadership, Yale College proudly awards the Nakanishi Prize to Kennedy Odibo. Nishe Andrew, will you please come to the stage? The James Andrew Haas Prize is awarded annually to that member of the senior class in Yale College whose breadth of intellectual achievement, strength of character, and fundamental humanity shall be adjudged by the faculty to have provided leadership for his or her fellow student, inspiring them a love of learning and concern for others. This year, the Haas Prize is awarded to Nishe Andrew of Branford College. A fearless historian of the Federal Indian Boarding School program in Alaska, Nishe graduates with a BA, MA in political science and a certificate in education studies. Her scholarship, advocacy, and leadership have transformed Yale, helping to center Native and Indigenous ways of knowing in both academic and community life. She has worked to expand the presence of Native foods in Yale's dining halls and played a pivotal role in establishing the new certificate in Native and Indigenous Studies, launching in 2027. As a Mellon Mays Boucher Fellow, Nishe has conducted groundbreaking research on Indigenous holdings across dozens of US institutions, creating a foundation for future scholars to build upon. Her work is not only intellectually rigorous, but deeply rooted in care for her community, for history, and for the future. Nishe's presence at Yale has been a source of joy, strength, and inspiration. She has nurtured community with warmth and generosity, and her leadership has left an indelible mark on this university. For her intellectual achievement, strength of character, and fundamental humanity, Yale College is proud to bestow the James Andrew Haas Memorial Prize upon Nishe Skavak Silulukti Tiaim Andrew.
Unprecedented times. We hear this phrase a lot. Born in the wake of 9/11, childhood in the 2008 recession, finishing high school during a global pandemic. For some of us, this weekend is our first graduation ceremony. But we don't live in unprecedented times. In my first week at Yale, I was randomly paired with a first-year advisor. His name is Henry Sam Chauncey, a longtime Yale administrator who worked alongside Yale President Kingman Brewster during some of the most tumultuous years in Yale's history. The first day we met, he gave me his book about May Day, and from that moment, my experience at Yale was shaped by a deeper understanding of the history around me. Meeting Sam made Yale's history feel even closer. Just over 50 years ago, the student body was going through a monumental change. From mostly white prep school boys to a more diverse class with more Black students, Jewish students, financial aid, and for the first time in Yale's history, women. This fundamentally changed the student body. In the early 70s, student activism was at an all-time high. They were protesting the Vietnam War, protesting the quota that kept women in Yale College outnumbered 7-1, advocating for the start of the African American Studies major, speaking up about sex discrimination when few were willing. Yale students stepped up when thousands of protesters came to New Haven to rally support for the 9 Black Panther Party members facing trial at May Day. The more I learned about Yale history, the more I saw the synchronicities. The weight of our cyclical histories has both haunted and empowered me. In 1973, Roe v. Wade legalized abortions. In my sophomore year at Yale, Roe v. Wade was overturned. In the 80s, Yale students launched an encampment on Beinecke Plaza to protest Yale's investment in apartheid, a moment that was chastised at the time, but now largely remembered as being on the right side of history. In our time at Yale, more than 1,000 students participated in the encampments in the same place, protesting Yale's investment in weapons used in the Israel-Hamas war. Throughout history, Yale students have been the force moving Yale from the past to a more equitable present. In my lunches with Chauncey, I'd seek his wisdom, and he'd often repeat one of Kingman Brewster's favorite lines: "Today's radical ideas are tomorrow's gospel." Today's radical ideas are tomorrow's gospel. Driven by Chauncey's stories, I kept researching Yale history, diving into the archives, at first with no plan. My work culminated in a thesis project about Elga Wasserman, the administrator who facilitated coeducation with Chauncey and fought to end sex discrimination in admissions and hiring at Yale. As I interviewed the first women through my project, their stories felt incredibly close. Years apart, we vent to our roommates, struggle to fit in, and cry of homesickness in the same place. We are sleeping in their beds. Think back to the person you were when you got here. In the last few years, we've all changed immensely. But when we got here, we didn't think we belonged. A lot of us struggled with imposter syndrome, asking ourselves, does this mean I have to do something great with my life? At first, I found this feeling incredibly crushing, but the first women felt this too. The New York Times ran a story calling them superwomen. Professors would save the last 5 minutes of class just for the women's point of view. Chauncey told me stories of how they selected this first class of women that would enroll in the fall of 1969. Survival characteristics. They knew there would be immense pressure. We've all felt this pressure in different ways. In my sophomore year, I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. I went through surgeries and chemotherapy here at Yale New Haven Hospital while struggling to stay in school. I benefited from years of medical advancements and received a level of care I'm not sure I could have received anywhere else. Suddenly, I was exactly where I was meant to be. I felt an immense gratitude for Yale, and by May 2023, I was in remission. Though I still had the scars, the smooth head, and chemo brain, I felt lucky to be alive. So lucky that I felt guilty. As a young person beginning to navigate the start of my life and career, the fact that I'd overcome cancer only compounded my battle with perfectionism. It wasn't enough to simply make art or exist. It had to be incredible because I got to live. I felt that I had to make my life worth something. In these difficult moments, I turned to the stories of the students before me. We don't live in unprecedented times. Yale students have lived through moments of profound change and found the strength to use their voices. Their stories empowered me as I went through my own transformation, and I will forever remember that it was here at Yale that I beat cancer. Our time will be marked by our own historic moments. We entered on the heels of COVID. We moved in during a hurricane. We toasted our classmates competing in the Olympics, enrolled in the first ever Cherokee language class at Yale, cheered as the women's hockey team won their first ever Ivy League championship. We celebrated when the Middle Eastern and North African Cultural Center was born. We gathered when Russia invaded Ukraine, and we watched the Supreme Court overturn affirmative action. 44 of our classmates were arrested for protesting on their own campus. And now, academic freedom is on the line. In a world with so much conflict, the pressure to do something impactful will never go away. But we can't let it paralyze us. We are equipped with knowledge from some of the top scholars in the world. We've built friendships across diverse backgrounds and generations. We're armed with problem-solving skills, leadership, and grit. The biggest lesson I've taken from Yale's history is that we do have a responsibility to the generation after us. But it's something we do every day. Say something. Maybe it's through art, research, science, technology. Maybe it's just in the moments you have a conversation with someone you disagree with. Maybe it's the way you build community. Problem solving and leadership can happen at any scale, and oftentimes the largest impact is at the community level. President Kingman Brewster said, "Most students are smart enough to know there are no easy answers, but they would like their elders to admit their questions are real. The stakes are terribly high for those who will, by the simple passage of time, inherit the earth, are now at the crossroads. To our elders, share your wisdom, invite new ideas, and trust us to do the work. and to the class of 2025. As we move into the next stages of our lives, it may feel like we have no roadmap for the next stages ahead. Look to history as your North Star. Look to the Yaleys before us who have had the tough conversations. Look to the generations that gave us the foundation and take the time to listen to their stories. These are not unprecedented times. Listen for the echoes of their histories and carry your story to the generations beyond us.
I'd like to thank all the students for their wonderful contributions today. I'm not sure if Oliver Houston is here today. Oliver, if you're here, could you come up to the front? I'm going to read Oliver's citation, even though he wasn't able to make it today. The Warren Memorial High Scholarship Prize is awarded to the senior majoring in the humanities who ranks highest in scholarship. This year, the prize is awarded to Oliver Houston of Trumbull College. Oliver graduates summa cum laude with distinction in his classics major, along with an advanced language certificate in Russian and a master's degree in classics. Elected to Phi Beta Kappa in his junior year, Oliver has completed 41 credits at Yale, earning an A in every course. A scholar of languages and literature, Oliver is proficient in 6 languages and has earned high praise from faculty for his clarity and insight in analyzing complex Russian texts. His academic excellence has been recognized with the Buchanan-Winthrop Prize for Latin Site Translation and the Alice Derby Lang Prize for his essay, The Scythian, Lucian's Headless Tale. Oliver has served as a Latin tutor at the Yale Center for Language Studies and held editorial roles with both the Yale Historical Review and Helicon, the undergraduate journal of classics. He has also contributed to archaeological research through his volunteer work with the Gabi Project in Italy. In recognition of his extraordinary scholarly achievements, Yale College is proud to award the Warren Memorial High Scholarship Prize this year to Oliver Houston. Teddy Towell, will you please come up to the stage? The Arthur Twining Hadley Prize is awarded annually to the senior in Yale College majoring in the social sciences who ranks highest in scholarship. This year, the prize is awarded to Teddy Towell of Saybrook College. Teddy graduates summa cum laude with distinction in his major of ethics, politics, and economics. Elected to Phi Beta Kappa in his junior year, he has completed 39 credits at Yale, earning an A in every course. Teddy has focused his academic work on the intersection of law, policy, and ethics, with a particular emphasis on the societal implications of artificial intelligence. His coursework has spanned graduate seminars and professional courses at the Law School and the Jackson School of Global Affairs. He founded the Yale AI Policy Initiative to help prepare policymakers for the legal, social, and geopolitical challenges posed by emerging technologies. Beyond the classroom, Teddy has been a leader and mentor through the Yale Debate Association, where he has achieved international success and supported younger students in their development. For his exceptional scholarship and commitment to public service, Yale College proudly awards the Arthur Twining Hadley Prize to Edward Albert Towell. Andy Nillapur, will you please come up to the stage? The Russell Henry Chittenden Prize is awarded annually for the senior majoring in the natural sciences or in mathematics who ranks highest in scholarship. This year's prize is awarded to Andy Nilipur of Ezra Stiles College. Andy was elected to Phi Beta Kappa in his junior year and graduates summa cum laude with distinction in both of his majors, astrophysics and mathematics, along with a certificate in Japanese. He has earned 44 course credits at Yale, every one of them an A. Andy's academic interests span cosmology, radio astronomy, and machine learning. He's conducted research at the SETI Research Center at UC Berkeley, the National Radio Astronomy Observatory in New Mexico, and MIT's Haystack Observatory. His work includes developing regularized maximum likelihood algorithms for event horizon telescope data and using neural networks to analyze baryon acoustic oscillations. A recipient of the Light Fellowship, Andy studied abroad at International Christian University in Tokyo and interned at the National Astronomical Observatory of Japan. He's also served as a teaching fellow in Yale's Japanese language program, a grader in the Department of Mathematics, and a peer tutor at the Center for Language Study. Next year, Andy will pursue an MPhil in physics at the University of Cambridge as a Churchill Scholar. For his exceptional scholarship and future promise in his field, Yale proudly awards the Russell Henry Chittenden Prize to Andy Nilipur. Nicole Lam and Maisie Wong, will you please come up to the stage? The Lewis Sudler Prizes for Excellence in the Performing and Creative Arts are awarded to two outstanding seniors, Nicole Lam of Ezra Stiles College and Maisie Wong of Jonathan Edwards College. Nicole Lam graduates cum laude and with distinction with a double major in applied mathematics and computer science and a joint BS MS in computer science. Yet Nicole has also made an enduring impact at Yale through music. A gifted conductor, pianist, and vocalist, Nicole has led the Yale Symphony Orchestra as assistant conductor, directed the Berklee College Orchestra, and performed with the Yale Schola Cantorum. She completed 4 years of solo piano recitals through the School of Music's Selective Lessons for Credit program. Her musical leadership extended across campus stages, where she conducted or directed 16 theatrical productions and coached vocalists for 8 more. Nicole's presence in rehearsal rooms has been transformative. Her artistry, rigor, and joy have elevated every ensemble she has led. Beyond Yale, she founded Love Through Music, a nonprofit that brings music to underserved communities. With over 500 members in 9 branches, it has hosted more than 50 charity concerts nationwide. A versatile and passionate artist, Nicole has touched thousands who have heard her play the piano, listened to her sing, or watched her conduct. For her extraordinary talent, leadership and performance, and commitment to music as a force for connection and healing, Yale College is proud to award the Lewis Sudler Prize for Excellence in the Performing and Creative Arts to Nicole Lam. Maisie Wong graduates with a degree in art. More than an artist or muralist, Maisie is a world builder, an imaginative thinker whose work invites viewers into metaphysical spaces where ecology, emotion, and identity intertwine. Her creations reflect a deep engagement with art history, fiction, and material craft, and her ability to merge concept and process is rare and remarkable. Maisie's work spans painting, ceramics, and fresco, each medium approached with rigor, reverence, and a hunger to master its history and technique. Her most ambitious project, Growing Apart, Falling to Pieces, is a permanent 7 by 10-foot fresco mural installed in Jonathan Edwards College. The labor-intensive process, grinding pigments, preparing lime plaster, and painting on wet surfaces, demands precision, patience, and vision. Maisie's choice of this medium speaks to her commitment to pushing artistic boundaries and honoring tradition while forging new paths. Her work is not only technically masterful, but conceptually rich, offering viewers a mirror, a metaphor, or a moment of reflection. She creates spaces that invite contemplation and connection. For her ambition, her devotion to learning, and her ability to bring new worlds into being, Yale College is proud to award the Lewis Sudler Prize for Excellence in the Creative Arts to Maisie Wong. Thank you both. Ethan Levenbook, will you please come up to the stage? The Alpheus Henry Snow Prize is awarded to that senior who, through the combination of intellectual achievement, character, and personality, shall be adjudged by the faculty to have done the most for Yale by inspiring in his or her classmates an admiration and love for the best traditions of high scholarship. This year, the Snow Prize is awarded to Ethan Levenbook of Grace Hopper College. Ethan graduates summa cum laude and with distinction with a BA MA in French, the first student at Yale to complete this dual degree program. A Hart Lyman Prize winner and member of Phi Beta Kappa, Ethan has distinguished himself as a scholar of exceptional depth and originality. His senior thesis, which earned the Rexham Prize for the best senior essay in the field of the humanities and the James T. King Prize, presents the first English translation of Victor Hugo's Philosophie, accompanied by a 60-page critical study that repositions the work as a vital bridge between Hugo's early and final drafts of Les Miserables. Ethan's translation of Hugo's La Pitié Suprême, a monumental poem on amnesty, was the first of its kind in English and was supported by archival research in Paris. His work has been recognized with the French North American Studies Prize and the Kenneth Cornell Award. Beyond the classroom, Ethan has served as director and editor-in-chief of l'Amuse-Bouche and as managing editor and translator for the Yale Journal of Literary Translation, working across French, Old French, Latin, and Ancient Greek. Ethan's commitment to language and justice extends into the New Haven community, where he has provided pro bono translation and interpretation services for local legal aid organizations since 2021. His work with the New Haven Legal Assistance Association and the Civil Justice Clinic at Quinnipiac Law School has supported Francophone asylum seekers and their attorneys in collaboration with the Yale Law School's Immigrant Rights Clinic. Faculty describe Ethan as a once-in-a-lifetime student whose intellectual maturity, kindness, and scholarly rigor set him apart. He has served as a jury member and speaker for the Prix Goncourt US and was honored this spring with the David Everett Chandler Award and the Grace Hopper College Fellows Cup. For his extraordinary scholarship, his service to others, and his embodiment of Yale's highest values, Yale College is proud to award the Alpheus Henry Snow Prize to Ethan Levenbook.
Good afternoon, class of 2025, and especially Pauli Murray College.
Davenport, let's hear it. I'm Brandon Yee, your class treasurer.
And I'm Isabel Lika, your class secretary.
And together, we are your senior class officers.
First, we'd like to thank the Class Day Committee for their hard work in planning this event over the past few months.
We would also like to extend a special thank you to the Right Honorable Dame Jacinda Ardern for her time and inspiring words.
To the class of 2025, becoming our class secretary was truly a full circle moment for me. On my first night here, I was hanging out in the Branford courtyard with my roommate Maddie, and one of the people we were with asked to guess my major. I was like, all right. He said communications. We don't have a communications major. I'm just blonde. Anyways, I do hope my email skills improve by the time we reach our 5th year reunion. We are also thrilled to announce that the 5th year reunion will be held in, drum roll please, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Everybody should consider booking their Spirit Airline flights later tonight while your parents are sleeping. Some of us might be holding Borgs, some of us might be holding baby bottles, but isn't that what your 20s are all about? It has been such an immense privilege growing and learning with you all. This crazy bulldog school has given us light in the friends we will never forget and truth in the learning we have done here. From LC 101 to the backyard of Eden. I mean old Eden, old Eden. Real ones know, real ones know. You guys are rock stars, and although our days of schlepping up to Science Hill might be over, our time together isn't. Because the Alumni Fund will track you down. The Yale parents in the crowd know exactly what I'm talking about.
Before we look ahead to our 5-year reunion, we have tomorrow's commencement to look forward to. Congratulations, everyone, on your accomplishments and reaching this monumental day. It's crazy that tomorrow morning, we will wake up for the last time as Yale students. Tomorrow night, we will say some of our final goodbyes in the Davenport courtyard. Our bright college years are finally coming to an end. Yale has undoubtedly shaped us into who we are today and into the leaders we will be tomorrow. For some of us, this path is obvious. Med school to save lives. Law school to fight for justice. McKinsey Junior Associate to maximize shareholder value. But for many of us, we have no idea where our lives are really headed. A liberal arts education doesn't tell us what to do with it. We may feel lost, but the truth is, our lives are really just beginning. We have so much time ahead of us and so much of life to explore. And no matter where we go, we bring with us the memories and friendships we made over 4 years. We may be leaving Yale, but Yale will never leave us.
At this moment, we would like to remind the Senior Glee Club members to come forward to the bandstand while the class history video is playing.
See you at commencement.
Julia!
What were you doing up there?
Oh, I was writing a letter to my future self.
You're writing a letter?
Yeah.
Huh. I never wrote one.
You didn't?
No.
Well, it's never too late.
Oh, this for me?
Yeah. Try it.
Huh. I will.
Dear first year Elijah.
Dear first year Julia,
Yale will open doors for you you never even knew existed. You'll pick up a language you never expected to love. You'll walk onto a team and find your second family, and fall into passions that reshape how you see the world. Let yourself be surprised. You'll grow into someone you're so proud of, surrounded by people who inspire you every day. I didn't just get an education here, I found a community I'll love forever.
And so another thing I also want to tell my first year self is that it's okay to say no to some things. I know that during my first year, I was really worried about doing enough, being, I guess, the perfect Yale-y. And I found myself saying yeses to a lot of things and feeling really worn down by the end of the first year. And now that I'm a senior, I know better. I know that I can prioritize myself. I know that I can say no to some things, even if I was scared that people would be upset.
My advice to incoming first-year student athletes would be to get as involved as possible. There's so many different organizations and clubs on campus pertaining to so many different topics, and you never know what you're interested in until you try it. So go to that club meeting, go to that career bazaar, take the time to find out what you're interested in outside of your sport.
So I would tell my first year self to trust the process, enjoy the next 4 years. They go by way too quickly, but enjoy every moment of it, every smile, every memory, every hardship. You're going to have the best friends to carry it along with you.
I tell my first year self that college is full of surprises. The classes you take, the people you meet, the conversations you have, all add on to that. And I think my biggest surprise was finishing my freshman year at Yale, unsure of how college could get any better. And as a senior now, I can confidently say each year has been better than the last. So embrace the change, embrace the surprise, and enjoy your time here at Yale.
Getting into basketball, I have to give all the credit to my mom. She threw my brother and me into every sport imaginable, and just saw what stuck, saw what we really loved. For me, it was basketball. For my brother, it was water polo. And when I was in second grade, I played a team from New York City, and they smoked us. We couldn't get the ball across half court. It was awful. I was very upset. My mom asked me if I wanted to be that good, and I told her yes, and she made so many sacrifices for me, just for me to chase something and keep doing what I loved. She would drive me down to the city after a long day of work. She would wake up at 5 a.m. to take me to the gym before I would go to school and before she would go to work. The amount of sacrifice that she made, I'm so grateful for. I love you, Mom.
I was a very different person, a less mature person when I came into Yale. And my first year self grew a tremendous amount by challenging himself. I would tell my first year self to make the ordinary extraordinary and to appreciate that the ordinary here at Yale is extraordinary.
To my first year self, I would say you might have walked in here thinking you knew exactly what you wanted, but stay curious.
So I think whenever I started my first year, the things I was worried about was getting the accessibility I needed, being able to fit in, being able to make friends, and making the most out of my Yale experience. And so something that I would definitely tell my first year self is that it's all going to be okay. And like now in my senior year, about to graduate, I know that I definitely found the community that I needed. I made the friends that I needed, and I was able to, fight for the accessibility I needed because I had other people that were able to give me advice and other people that fought the struggle with me.
I would tell my first year self to seize every day, to make the most of every opportunity. I would tell my first year self not to sweat the small stuff because everything will work out. I would tell my first year self to follow their interests, their passions. I would tell my first year self to enjoy every single day at Yale, because these are our bright college years.
From all of us on your Class Day committee, thank you. Thank you for being here to celebrate this moment, this class, this chapter.
We hope today offered space for laughter and reflection.
May the stories shared remind us of how far we've come.
And how much power there is in showing up for yourself and for each other.
As we say goodbye to our bright college years, thank you for being part of Yale's living tradition.
Happy Class Day, Class of 2025!